Hello there, Mad Mike here, and welcome back to the channel. And today we have some big news coming out of Disney and Marvel Studios, and this is something that could go very, very wrong, and it feels like it's probably going to go very, very wrong. But Marvel Studios and Disney announced today, well, I shouldn't say officially announced, but it's basically been leaked, and it's being widely reported that they are moving forward with Deadpool 3. Now, there was some question about whether or not they would do this because of the fact that the first two Deadpools were rated R. Disney generally does not work in the rated R territory. They pride themselves on being a very family-friendly company. In reality, that just kneecaps their creativity, which is dwindling as it is. But basically, they are. There was a lot of concern about that because they didn't think that they would move forward with that type of a film. In addition to the fact that it was a Fox property and they may not carry forward with it, they may try and reboot it or change it or just not do anything with it at all. Now, this also was compounded because Rob Liefeld, who is the creator of Deadpool, came out and said that he did not think a film would be happening soon. I did a video on that basically saying that Rob Liefeld is just either A, getting insider info, or he's just giving an opinion, which basically means nothing. And now we have this news. Now, there's a couple of major things that I want to discuss with this. Some good and some bad. Now, Ryan Reynolds is obviously going to be coming back to play Deadpool. I don't think that was a question in anybody's minds. TJ Miller might be a much bigger question. I have a funny feeling they'll probably get ZZ Beetz and Josh Brolin to come back and reprise their characters if the story has them in it. ZZ Beetz played Domino and Josh Brolin played Cable, which again would kind of make sense considering Josh Brolin has already played Thanos in the MCU. Now, moving past that, which is kind of the same thing, the same as what it was before, now we're moving into something else where the whole rated R question has come up. Now, early reports are saying is that Disney is planning on making this film rated R. They are not going to change the rating. However, will they go as balls to the wall as the first two films? That remains to be seen. Is this going to be one of those soft type of Rs where it's going to be toned down quite a bit? Or is this going to be a rated R that is like the first two Deadpool films? And they actually did try out the PG-13 thing a little bit with Once Upon a Deadpool, which is basically just a re-release of Deadpool 2 that was edited to take out all the R-rated content, and they put in some scenes where Deadpool is reading to Fred Savage a la Princess Bride style. But that movie did not fare very well when it was re-released. A lot of people thought it was Deadpool 3, and it wasn't. So there was a lot of confusion on that, and I don't think people liked that film very much. It felt very much chopped up and not good because they did have to just bleep a lot of lines. So yeah, that was not a good thing, and I think that if Disney is smart, which that's questionable sometimes, they will make sure that this thing is rated R, and they will make sure it is properly rated R, and they will not try and kitty it up or Marvel it up or do anything with that. Just let the comedy do what it's supposed to do. Now, the bigger question from a creative standpoint is they have gotten rid of the original writers that were on the first two films, and they have replaced them with writers from Bob's Burgers. That is what is kind of my hang up on this. So the original two writers were Paul Wernick and Rhett Reese, which that is so weird to say, and I apologize for that. That name is just a little awkward to say. But those two writers have been replaced by the Molyneux sisters, comprised of Lizzie Molyneux and Wendy Molyneux. I believe that is how that name is pronounced. If it is not pronounced that way, I apologize. But they are basically mainly known for being writers on Bob's Burgers. They wrote 13 episodes for that series, and they executive produce it. And then they also have a few other writing credits for a few other shows, the Great North or the something like that, which I think is a Canadian show. And they don't have a whole lot of writing credits, which is odd to me why you would then go to them to do this. Now, reportedly, Kevin Feige is also involved in this, which is not something that I want to see, because Kevin Feige has been increasingly I don't want to say diversifying, because I don't think diversifying in the Marvel Universe is necessarily a bad thing, but he has been pushing a lot of very relatively unpopular characters now that a lot of the older legacy characters are either being killed off or phased out, after Avengers Endgame. And the other thing is they still have the ongoing situation with Spider-Man where they're sharing him with Sony, and there's only technically 2 Marvel films I think that he's going to be doing outside of the Sony universe. So there's a lot of kind of weirdness going on there. But I don't think replacing those. I don't necessarily have a problem with replacing those 2 writers, but I think you need to get somebody. You need to get people that are experienced with R-rated comedy. These 2 women appear to be more experienced with television comedy, which is definitely not R-rated in most cases, especially Bob's Burgers. That's a network television show. Although they just recently came under the Disney banner because, again, I believe Bob's Burgers aired on Fox. Or airs on Fox, so Fox is now under the Disney banner, so those 2 are technically already employees of the company, they just had to shift them over. So that kind of makes sense, I guess, from a standpoint of doing something in-house. But again, I think in terms of this movie, the first Deadpool I thought was an amazing film. I love that movie to death. It's hilarious. Every moment of that film is funny. And it comes from Reynolds. It comes from Tim Miller before he lost his fucking mind. And it comes from these 2 writers as well. And I'm sure Reynolds will probably be involved in some way in the writing process and the ad-libbing and stuff that he usually does on set. So that will at least lighten things a little bit. But as of right now, it's kind of a weird situation where now you have these other 2 writers coming in who don't really have that much experience at doing a hard R-rated comedy or even a hard R-rated action comedy. And now you kind of have that balance that's gone. So maybe it's Disney banking on the fact that these 2 writers are not going to go to the R-rated end of things, like the hard R-rated end of things, like the previous 2 writers did. It's possible that maybe those other 2 writers were going to charge them too much money, and they said, "Screw it, we're going to go with the cheaper option." It could have just as easily been a business decision, although I doubt it, because again, Kevin Feige's kind of a weirdo when it comes to this stuff. And the other thing is Kevin Feige loves to push the female-centric stuff. So you got rid of 2 men and you hired 2 women. So maybe that could have also played a role in this, but I'm not 100% sure on that. So again, all of this stuff that we're hearing right now is basically stuff that hasn't 100% been officially confirmed, but it is mostly assumed that it is going to be the case. And like I said, I don't really have too much of an issue with Disney actually doing a Deadpool 3, but as of right now, the execution is not looking like it's going to be good. But the only good thing about changing the writers and keeping a lot of the other people the same is that a lot of the times scripts, even finished scripts, when we go into a film production, do not stay the same. They get altered during the production, sometimes very drastically. So just because these 2 people may not write a script that is worthy of a Deadpool 3 during production, if you have Reynolds and maybe, a good director, because again, we don't have a director attached to this yet because nothing's technically official. Once we do get a director attached, I think that you'll get a better picture of maybe what you're going to get out of the final product. But I think if you have a decent director who knows how to do R-rated comedies and you have Reynolds, again, on set in the role, I think you can overcome a lackluster script. So there is still a chance for this to be relatively successful. But as of right now, it's looking a little bit like I'm kind of waiting for the train wreck to happen. It's kind of like one of those things where you're watching the locomotive as it travels towards the 6-foot thick cinder block wall, and it's about to collide. And maybe there's like some kind of like a switch rail or something like that that's kind of stuck, and you're kind of hoping maybe the train veers off. But as of right now, this doesn't give me a lot to get excited about, other than the fact that they have confirmed that they not confirmed, but other than the fact that early sources are saying they want to keep the R rating. They want to actually do it rated R, which again was the thing that a majority of people were worried about going into this movie. But that's just kind of my opinion on this news. I want to know what your opinion is. Are you excited? Would you be excited to see a Deadpool 3? Did you like Deadpool 1 and 2? Do you think it's good that Disney is trying to do this? Do you think they're legitimate in going after the R rating? Do you like the writing change? Do you dislike the writing change? Or any predictions for the film period. Put your thoughts in the comments below as usual. I like to read them. Hit the bell for notifications. Hit the like button. Subscribe, and remember, I live my life free of compromise. Do you?